Happening, everyone? It's James from Arcade Attack. Just me this time, not the other three guys, the piece of furniture that we're used to. Instead, for this week's podcast, I have a very special guest, a lady who I've been watching stream for some time, and we've caught up across various platforms. And I love the genre of gaming that she loves and that she streams as well. And I thought that what we do is have a little get together and do a little Desert Island Diskettes, as we kind of come to call it. Now, you will know, you guys out there, that we did do a recording recently where the four of the old gits at Arcade Attack sat around and waxed lyrical about all of our sort of Desert Island Diskette games. If you haven't heard that one yet, do go and have a listen, because there's a few curveballs in there as well, and it took me weeks to actually decide what to play. So I'm hoping today my guest has not had quite so much trouble in selecting the games that she'd take to Desert Island. It's Kim. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you so much, James, again for having me on your wonderful podcast. And I would love to see Keith take on a horror game. Actually, Resident Evil Requiem at some point. That would be amazing.
Oh, do you know what? We've honestly, there's already been chatter about that. So, because there was a lot of it with Village, and he played that, and then I got that because he said it was so good. So I've no doubt there's going to be. We'll have to sort of invite you in for like an after hours sort of, Patreon special pod to kind of talk about Requiem. So that'd be really good. But Kim, yeah, you love a bit of survival horror. That's your kind of bread and butter, isn't it? What makes it? What do you do with it? On a sort of a weekly, monthly basis, there with survival horror games.
Well, I mean, I am a huge Resident Evil fan, and my take on survival, I love everything horror. So just me started into the genre, and for me, I love the thrill of being scared. I've been playing games now since I was like 6. Obviously not Resident Evil because I was too young for it then. But on the basis of that, it's something that I love. I mean, another good example of a horror game that is more sort of suspenseful and you have to think twice about what you're doing is definitely Alien Isolation.
Ooh,
Because
good shout.
the xenomorph is relentless and it doesn't care. It's a bit like the Terminator. So you take your chances.
Yes,
You survive.
absolutely. No, that's a bit of food for thought. And actually, I'd probably before we get on to sort of the main body of what we're doing, actually, Alien Isolation is an interesting one, because I think a lot of people would sort of think of that as like, it's sci-fi, it's kind of movie related. Of course it is, but it is basically a horror game, isn't it?
It
Because it
is.
scares the absolute pants off you. I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue with, really, isn't it? But anyway, so you've already given us a game. I haven't even told everyone the rules, but that's my fault because I'm getting sidetracked, because I could just talk about this type of stuff all day. So those who did watch our pod or listen to our pod, where we're sitting around doing Desert Island Diskettes, very simple little brief, real laid back chat, and it just gives us a chance to kind of wax lyrical about some of our games that we could basically not get bored of, and basically sit and play in lots of different ways on a desert island, funnily enough. So you're on a desert island, you've got the means to play pretty much whatever kind of game you'd like to play by yourself. Unfortunately, no mates around, you've got no internet connection. Some would say actually that's a really good thing. Fair these days, no internet. And yeah, you've got these 5 games that you can basically sit and play to your heart's content. And obviously, for some of us, me included, on our pod, that caused a little bit of kind of conflict, because I kind of thought I knew exactly what I wanted to play. We were only allowed to pick 2, Dylan. But yeah, it was quite tough for me. I really agonised over it. So obviously, you get a few more. So it'd be really interesting to see what you go with. But I'm really excited because of your fascination with obviously survival horror and what you stream and stuff like that. And that's a kind of a genre I've been into quite a bit. This should be really good. So what games have you got for us?
I have to be honest, my my retro shelf, I did have a browse before we hopped on the call, and I thought, right, I'm going to do. It's a bit like going game shopping. I had
Oh, it's lovely.
In it goes. So, without further ado, stranded on a desert island with no one to pinch my controller and be like, I'm going to take over. Is the first one I've decided to choose is Resident Evil 2.
Oh, for goodness sake, we are going in hot.
We are. I may be counting right
Wow.
now, but we'll see.
All right. I
Well,
mean, there's so much to say, but like, give us the headlines. Why do you love it so much?
the reason why I love this so much is, and I was contemplating wearing my shirt because me and my husband have a running joke. I am a huge Leon Kennedy fan, and I think he is an awesome protagonist given his background and his laws. Obviously, you know, he's a rookie cop, but if you go back further, apparently, like he was like an orphan, and a lot of stuff happened in the background, and that's why he chose to become a cop to protect people. And first day on the job, it don't go well.
No, it really. Honestly, that just as a side note, there, that when you fired up. And I remember this vividly when I had the I think it was the demo. It was like it's like a PS1 demo. I had disc. I must have played the demo. I'm not kidding you, 500 times before I even got the game. Obviously, back then, you know, had to wait for sort of, you know, pocket money or God knows whatever else. But the bit when he starts off, yeah, and he just drives into Raccoon City, and it's like, oh, it's all gone a bit wrong, and it just kind of that sets the tone, really, doesn't it?
It does. I think it's also like when he meets another survivor, because it's nice to know that there are other people who may have potentially survived, and then he bumps into Claire, and coincidentally, the two work. They have the same scenarios, but they are ran differently. So obviously, with Claire, you know, she's got Sherry, and she's got like Chief Irons, and then you know there's the Tyrant, and then obviously on Leon's side, there's still the Tyrant, and then you've got Ada, who's like how like the mysterious love interest. Like it's there, but it's not made clear what exactly it is.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Yeah, it's like a Tinder. There's no button that says it's complicated. It's just swipe left or swipe right.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that one. I thought that was a really good way of making a game very different with the two different characters, and obviously the two different ways of playing the game, the two different stories, two different paths. You know, that was sort of I wouldn't say unheard of, but it was to do it on such a kind of a visually brilliant game and with such depth of gameplay. That, I mean, you know, that for me was one of the reasons why I absolutely loved it so much, and the fact that it was, I would say, dare I say, even better than the first Resident Evil, which I loved as well. But 2 was just incredible. And yeah, the other thing you can do as well, and I don't know how many sort of ways you've done this, but you can complete the game. For those that don't know, you can complete the game in kind of different ways, can't you? So there's sort of time limits and ammo and things like that. I mean, there's a if I remember correctly, there's sort of an S, A, B, C kind of ranking, isn't there?
There is, yeah. I mean, for me, when I very first started playing these types of games, I like to run things on easy just to see how my comfort zone stands. So if I can crack it on easy, maybe like 2, 3 times, and then I think I'm starting to feel a bit confident now, you know, oh, and then it'd be like normal or like hard. I think I was playing some of the remakes over the last couple of weeks just to prepare for like a video and stuff, and I had to go on the hardcore mode on Resident Evil 3 Remake, and thought, you know, actually, this is not that bad. Inferno is coming, but not yet.
So that's interesting, yeah, because there's a bit of an in joke with us that that Dill always plays every game on easy, but actually there's do you know what you've said is kind of makes sense, because if you go into the game and let's be honest, there's lots of surprises, there's lots of powerful enemies, there's lots of like things to solve. I suppose if you go in and make it too difficult for yourself, you maybe get a little bit disillusioned, and maybe sort of you don't get as far as you want to, and it kind of like maybe spoils the sort of. I mean, there are people out there that go, "Well, you got to make it a challenge for yourself." Yeah, but learn the game maybe first. So I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Resident Evil 2. My God, what a start! The demo that I played probably at least 500 times.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my God, I must have worn the disc out before I actually bought the game. And then when I bought the game, obviously, I don't know, I think it was the demo was you could get to the police station, wasn't it? I think that was the demo. I mean, I knew that bit. I could do that bit with my eyes shut by that point. And then once I got in the police station, I was like, okay, this is quite difficult. Great first choice. So we've got we've got going into the book, we've got Resi 2.
Mhm.
I'm not even sure how we can beat that, but yeah, let's try. What's your next choice?
Well, after that, if we're gonna be going canon, we're gonna be talking about Resident Evil 3 for the PS1.
We're straight on to the next. Ah,
Mm.
why have you chosen this? And then I'll tell you why I think it's so great. Why have you chosen it?
So I have chosen this because this was actually the first ever. So me and my dad, we went to Toys R Us back then when it was a thing, and they used to have the physical aisle, so you could go and like trial like the PS1 games and hold the
Yes.
controllers, and it's like the box was like all hidden away with the TV and stuff. And he said to me, "I've been thinking about it for a while, and I wanted to buy you a PS1." So I was like, "Oh, that's amazing! What game do you want?" So I said, "I would like Resident Evil 3." And he looked at me like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Say again?" I said, "Resident Evil 3." And he was like, "Well, if you want it, I can get it for you, but just don't tell your mum." Okay.
Don't tell
So
your mum.
yeah. So I got it and I played it and I loved it. And I thought Jill at the time, because obviously I wanted to carry on with the series, was the best female protagonist ever because she didn't give a crap. She was running around a city in a tube top. I want to say tube top
Yeah.
and a skirt and a jumper and high heeled boots and just kicking butt and taking names, and she just rocked it. And I thought that's how I would see like female protagonists further down the line. And the fact that she's been chased by Nemesis, who has got like probably more forms than Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. It's incredible. So, but Carlos, again, he's a really memorable character. And then you've got like Nikolai and Mikhail and the rest of the team. And that scene with the clock tower, which also you
Mm.
have scenario A where you can push him off or choose to fight him, or choose to like be a coward and run away. I just push him off. It doesn't matter.
Just kick. Whoop. See you later.
Oopsie, you slipped. So that game for me is really, 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 really memorable. And when I completed it, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it again because I loved it.
It's
So
funny
yeah.
you say that. It's funny you say that because I've got I played that literally the game so much because it was off the back of number two.
Mhm.
And obviously, I played that a fair bit. There was so much press about it, and obviously, it was all the mags and everything like that. Number 3 came out, and obviously, the momentum was still there, wasn't it, in terms of the interest in it? And bloody Nemesis, honestly, I started that game off. I was like, "Will you just quit for God's sake?" All your stars. It's like bugger off, you know. But I mean, it's such a and the way you start the game as well. It was like it wasn't typical of what the games before because you started off with like an assault rifle, I think, and then you basically were just walking through like the streets were burning everywhere, weren't they? Um,
Yeah.
and it was a really different start to the other games, which was kind of
Mhm.
like just sort of like lowered you in, as it were. I suppose 2, you could argue that it was a sort of a relatively frantic start, but number 3 was just out the frying pan into the fire, wasn't it? And then just before you get to the station, you get old Nemesis again. But it was that is a fantastic game. I completed that so many times, and it was like you say, you get to the end and you think, what can I do better? You know, how can I sort of add a different element to it, etc. And I think, if I remember correctly, I'm sure you'll correct me on this. When you completed the game, there was if you filled certain criteria, didn't you get something like unlimited ammo for a certain weapon?
You did, yeah. And the other cool thing about it is you can unlock like the boutique key, and the boutique key actually gives
Yes.
you different outfits, and one of them happened to be from Dino Crisis, which was Regina's outfit.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yes, I knew there was that rumbling around in there somewhere. But that's so cool though, isn't it? Because then you can obviously change up your weapons, change up your clothes, and you don't have to run around in a boob tube and a skirt. Although kicking ass in a boob tube and a skirt, I mean, let's be honest. You know, I mean, what else do we need to talk about? But fantastic game. I do like that game, and the chopper bit definitely goes down as a bit of a heart in mouth moment, doesn't it? Because you think that you're safe, and
I
you're
know
not
it.
wrong.
The amount of times I was telling somebody the other day in our Discord community that if you think about every single Resident Evil game about how it ends, there's always a great big mushroom cloud and nuclear explosion. And
Yeah.
somebody was like, "Can anybody think of any Resident Evil games that don't end in that?" And I'm like thinking, not at the moment.
No, not so far. Not so far. But then I suppose the idea of that is you've got to get out before it kind of all kicks off, haven't you? I mean, how else are you going to get rid of a city full of zombies and stuff? But there we go. Anyway, that's their take on it. So, but hey, look, we were talking about Requiem and stuff like that. I mean, they're still going with obviously very very different stories now, but the brand is still extremely successful. So we've gone from Resi 2 to Resi 3. Could you get the minigun in Resi 3 as well?
I don't know if I'm honest. I never got that far, but I always played with. Well, I always call it like the broken butterfly, but it's always the Magnum because the Magnum is so powerful. One shot, it does the business.
The Magnum's always been a great gun, isn't it? It's just an absolute hand cannon, and the yeah, I'm sure someone can put in the comments somewhere, guys. Tell me if there was a minigun in Resi 3. I'm sure there was a minigun somewhere. Either that, or I'm just completely barking up the wrong tree. Anyway, so Resi 2, Resi 3. Is it going to be? Are we going to go for the trifecta? What have we got for the next game?
Well, the next one's going to be. It's on a different platform this time, so
Okay.
it's going to be RE4 for GameCube. Ah,
For the GameCube.
not with the GameCube controller though, sadly. So no.
But I would argue because we did a pod on this. Keith did an amazing job, really doing a deep dive on excuse me, on Resi 4, and it sort of turned out that we'd all played it on lots of different platforms. I didn't play it actually several years after it first came out, and I think mine originally was the PS2. I think it was that I played it on. But yeah, we'd all played it on different platforms. Now, I don't know how different the GameCube version played. So, A, why do you like Resi 4 so much? Bit of a daft question, really. But B, what does it play any different on the GameCube to any other platform?
Well, let's go with the first one. So the reason why I love RE4 so much is it's the first game I ever purchased for the GameCube, and the second one was The Legend of Zelda: The Twilight Princess, because that's another amazing game, but not part of this conversation.
Adrian will be happy with that mention, though.
And the other reason why the other reason why I love it so much is because of the story. The stories, it's not set in Raccoon City, so it's nice to see it set somewhere else that's in Europe, I think it's like Spain or something like that, or pretend Spain. With the set of enemies that have like their own pretend gibberish made up language.
Yes, they do. Yeah,
and lots of antagonists, especially in terms of the bosses, who I have never come across before in my whole entire life. I would start this game, I was like, oh, this is amazing. Oh no, I'm stuck on Mendes. What do I do? Or I'm stuck on Sadler, and oh, I died again. So it's like, okay, but
you kind of get used to it, don't you? After a while.
Yeah, you're thinking, what am I doing with my life choice here? Do I regret it, or do I keep going?
Questioning everything.
No, and does it play smoother? Does GameCube play smoother than PS2? In terms of that, I would say that PS2 probably plays smoother for me because I've been so used to playing like the PS1 and the PS2 and stuff. It just kind of all fell into place. But because it was a brand new console with a brand new game for me, I was thinking, oh, I've got to press this, and no, the controller's not the same as the PlayStation. All the buttons are everywhere, And once I played it a couple of times, it was just memory muscle. I was like, right, press this. Okay, cool. So yeah, actually, some people's bread and butter, not everybody's.
No, I never had a GameCube, and I'd absolutely love to have one, but I never actually had one. And I was like, do not pass go straight to Mega Drive and then PS1 and PS2. So I never had the pleasure of having a GameCube, but I was always curious as to whether it sort of played different. Obviously, I get why it kind of looked and felt a little bit different, because obviously the PS2 is a bit of a behemoth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, we talked about. I can't remember how long the pod was now, but I think it must have been a good hour and a half, possibly longer. And yeah, Keith did a great deep dive on it, and we sort of looked at all of the different sort of aspects of the game, and there's not much that we kind of couldn't say wasn't very good. It was just, and obviously because they switched things up, didn't they? Because you had the tank controls and obviously the pre-rendered backgrounds in 1 to 3, and then of course you had the third person over the shoulder view, which I mean, that completely changed everything because it wasn't just a case of going back in and running around, rooms and doing the tank controls and things like that.
Mm.
It was totally different, wasn't it? Um,
It was. Also, given as well that you had the tank controls, sorry, excuse me, and what made it even more difficult was you had your quick time events. So, for example, with the zombies going, there's a great big Indiana Jones boulder coming after you, and you're thinking, if you didn't tap it quick enough, you would then, unalive is the word that you can't say it on YouTube now. I have to use that word.
well, it's
Um,
terrifying though, isn't it, that
yeah.
situation?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of games that have done that since, but to have that kind of just crop up and you're not expecting it because there's almost
Mm.
like a cutscene, and all of a sudden you're part of the cutscene because you've got to press a button.
Crowded
It's
was
like,
the worst one, but where
oh,
you go up against him, and it's like you need to press like square and X again, and then you get just someone comes into the room and you get distracted, and you're thinking, "I'm going to do that all over again now." And obviously, depending on the mode that you did, so if you did it on easy, normal, or hard, it would probably give you like a combination of buttons to press. But I only did it on easy to begin
oh
with.
god. And the easy one was 2 buttons, was it?
I really, yeah, it was always tap. Was it like tap like I think it was like square and X or something like. I haven't played it for a while, and I was
Yeah, yeah.
thinking, please just let me get through this. I know Leon is no Indiana Jones, but
No,
he's
he's Leon. He's Leon. He's cool. Leon's cool, and he's back. He's coming back apparently, isn't he? He's coming
he
back,
is,
which
yeah.
with bated breath. So, my God, okay. I mean, literally, any of those first 3, we can just keep talking about them because they are just crazy good games, and I
Mm.
can quite see easily just sitting down, starting a sesh, going through, a new game. Also, I think we forgot to mention, or something I was going to say, going back to number 3, the mercenaries mode.
Yes.
The mercenaries mode. I remember that being. My God, I got addicted to that. Anyway, we've gone off
Okay.
piste completely. But so we've got not the first 3, but we've got Resi 2, Resi 3, and Resi 4.
Mhm.
Where do we go next?
Well, I can tell you we're not carrying on with canon because 5 is just another another, what would I say? Another step in another direction
Yes,
in
it
a
is
good
very
way.
much so. Yeah, we don't talk about 6.
Oh, hell no.
What do we
So
talk
my
about?
so I can talk about something better than RE6. Sorry, apologies if there are any RE6 fans out there. There are some good
That's okay.
aspects to it, but not so much for the pure horror that the first originals created.
Yeah,
However, my next choice is Dino Crisis 1 for the PS1, as we were talking about
excellent.
Regina earlier for Jill's outfits as well.
Yeah, the Dino Crisis outfits that you could a bit of cross game kind of appearance there in terms of the outfits. So Dino Crisis. Now, so this is really interesting. I I mean, I was really into all the games that you mentioned so far. So all the Resi games, fantastic. Followed them through. I initially, back in the day, I never really understood the sort of appeal of Dino Crisis because I thought, oh, is it zombie dinosaurs? No, no, it's just dinosaurs. Is it like
Mm.
mutant dinosaurs? Well, yeah, it's just dinosaurs. I was like, well, where's the zombies at? You can't really have a kind of a Capcom survival horror without zombies. But actually, a couple of years later, I kind of tried it, got into it. It's been a long time since I played it, but it's a great game. I mean, what do you love about it?
Again, it has a strong female lead in Regina. She's just part of a team that's just going in to like investigate what's going on this island, and it's so fun. We joke on stream that Dr. Kirk in Dino Crisis is really Dante. It's got to be. It's the hair, it's the coat, it's the way he looks when he's
If the
like,
boot fits,
if the boot fits and he fits the criteria, it's definitely
lace it up. I don't think too many would disagree with you there, to be honest. I think that's a good observation.
I think the other thing about it for me is that obviously, Dino Crisis to Resident Evil is like, I think people call it like his little sister, because
Mhm.
obviously you had the, what was it, like Devil May Cry was supposed to be Dante was Tony Redgrave was supposed to be in Resident Evil 4. That was the character that was supposed to be going into that game, and then they branched off and made Devil May Cry and RE4 separately.
Yeah.
But with Dino Crisis, what I loved about it again with Regina is that like I never. Obviously, you got all your Jurassic Park games, but been constantly stalked by this bloody T Rex, and you're thinking, I've got very little ammo. I'm going to be somebody's dinner in a minute. I'm just going to last 2 seconds. It was brilliant.
It
I loved it.
Yeah, it does bring a whole different element to it because it's not just like shuffling zombies and then obviously a big boss. It's kind of, like the raptors and stuff are absolutely, they're a pain in the backside because and again, you'll end up sort of shooting in all different directions trying to get them, and then what you find out is, okay, I've run out of ammo and I'm going to have to kill a T-Rex with a knife or something, and you're like, I'm a bit screwed here, but I mean, it's a totally different. I mean, would you have said? I mean, would you have said it was a bit of a gamble at the time? Maybe going for dinosaurs over zombies?
Yeah, I think so because obviously Capcom are best known for their survival horror, and obviously anyone you say survival horror, best thing they've said zombies, And then when
Yeah.
they went and made this, it kind of I don't know what it got, whether it was critically acclaimed or what it got at the time of release. But for me, when I played it, and I thought something's going to happen to these dinosaurs, either like you said, like they're going to like mutant out or something's going to happen, or one of the people's going to change or something. But it didn't. But what I liked mostly about it was, aside from the gameplay, and yes, he did have the tank controls, which made it easier for me because I'd already played
Yeah.
Resident Evil and then jumped onto Dino Crisis, was the save room music. And everybody knows that when you buy, again, going back to Resident Evil, when you buy a Resident Evil game, you've got that classic save room music, which is
Mhm.
quite therapeutic. And lots of people listen. There's like tons of YouTube videos where you can study or relax or listen to it while going to sleep. And that for me was really iconic because every time I went into that room, I felt safe. I wasn't going to get attacked or wasn't going to get dragged out the door kicking and screaming. And I thought, I'm actually got a reprieve here where I can breathe for like a couple of minutes before going back out and kicking back and taking names. But overall, for me, I loved it. I played it so many times. And then I thought, I need a bigger challenge. And then that's where when we move on to the next selection, I was like, right, that's it. I need to get my head in the game and just see what else we can do.
You are a glutton for punishment, are you not?
I
I mean,
am, but I don't like to admit it.
no. Well, I mean, so far, especially, I mean, even on sort of easy mode. I mean, the games are they are tough, even on an easier playthrough.
Mm,
You've got to use your wits. I mean, looking at all of these games, um, you've got to use your wits. You've got to preserve your ammo. You've got to solve a load of puzzles. You've got to have a lot of patience, hell of a lot of patience. And there's loads of different elements to these games. So I'm loving this so far because all these games I'm well on board with. So if we've gone 2, 3, 4, and then Dino Crisis, are we throwing a curveball in? Are we going? I mean, you said you wanted it to be more of a challenge. How much more of a challenge? What is your fifth game?
Sorry, excuse me. So my last, fifth and final game for challenges. Now, I'm not usually an arcade person because for me being an arcade person, I will go down to like a local arcade, get out like a few coinage and put it in. But I thought, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and purchase Dino Crisis 2, which for me, I'd never played it before. I only just picked this up recently, actually, because I've just started retro collecting
Mhm.
games, and I can't tell you how expensive they are. So, say for example, somebody picks up a game like this for like 20 quid. eBay, people want like 80 to 120. Like, what? It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, before we wax a bit of Dino Crisis lyrical, that's, I mean, there's a kind of a conversation that goes on
Mhm.
at AA Towers, and we do have a particular bit of resentment for the whole prices being jacked up on retro games
Mm,
stuff like that because it is getting silly.
yeah.
And it's been over the last couple of years. Obviously, there's been a bit of an explosion in retro gaming. Obviously, fueled a lot by sort of social media and YouTube and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, like you say, you've got those people that will go in and sweep up all these games that they can for a few quid, and then you'll see, like you said, you'll see a PS1 game, PS2 game, whatever, for 80, 100 quid, 200 quid, 500 quid, goodness knows whatever. And
Mm.
yeah, it does feel as though it may be not quite as accessible as it once was, but you've got yourself a copy, which is
I
good news.
did. But you know what, right? It's really funny. I bought this off of eBay. I had shopped around, so it was between either this or Silent Hill 3. Now, doing my little
Mm.
bit of like Girl Scout homework, I thought, you know what, right? I'm not paying anything over £100 for Silent Hill 3. You can just do one and spin because I ain't
Jog
paying
on.
that. Yeah. So I was like, right, so I ain't paying that. So okay, so I went on to eBay and I thought, right, what other game would I like to have in my collection that would sit comfortably next to its, original. And I thought, it got to be Dino Crisis 2. I've never played it. I have heard it's an arcade game. Is it something I would step outside my comfort zone? Yeah, probably. And I played it and I thought, this is interesting because there's a brand new character in there called Dylan, and obviously you've got like other people that crop up from time to time. And the fact that you are earning points while you are unaliving these dinosaurs is, and when you come back into the pre-rendered screens, they pop back up again. You're thinking, didn't I just take that?
Didn't I just get rid of you? Where, how? Sorry.
And I remember in one of the levels, there's something really ridiculous. There's like a key card hidden in the water somewhere, and it's like, oh, you need a key card. And you're thinking, where have I seen one of those before? But you don't. You know you need one, but you don't know where it is. And then you've got this dinosaur comes chasing after you, thinking, I don't need this aggravation. I've already got grey hair. Why do I want more?
Of course, it's in the water.
In the water, and I'm thinking, please just give me this damn card.
Yeah, and something tells you that it's not just going to be a case of going into the water, getting the card, and coming out again.
Nah.
No, don't be stupid. But I mean, well, I'll share something with you. So, Dino Crisis 2. So the first two games, obviously, quite highly rated.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people enjoy those games as a nice offshoot, as we were kind of discussing from the sort of zombie fests beforehand. We did a podcast I don't even know when it was now, it must have been like three years ago now, and I did a lucky dip. It was one of Dylan's Christmas lucky dips. It's a laugh a minute because he puts all sorts of stuff in there. Now, because you mentioned this, look what I have in my collection. I'm quite ashamed of it actually, but he wanted to get rid of it. Because I'm pretty sure this one, and it is Dino Crisis related, I'm pretty sure this one doesn't actually win any points at all, because I'm told it's the worst in the series, but fine.
Oh, James.
I have a copy of Dino Crisis 3. Yeah, I haven't got the first two, but I've got number 3 on the Xbox, and I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the other two.
But to be fair though, I bet even though I know it's probably like a bit like the black sheep of the franchise, but I bet genuinely, I bet if you went onto eBay and just looked at the prices for that, I bet that is extortionate. I bet
it could well be. Well, I mean, it was a lucky dip that Dill did in his mystery box, but I mean, I'm sure it's something like, isn't it like space dinosaurs in space or something? So listen, I'm sure there are people who absolutely love it. I'm a bit confused by it because I think I played it like once, goodness knows how long ago, on the original Xbox, and I was like, this is weird, space dinosaurs. And when you start introducing kind of space into anything, especially with dinosaurs, it's a crossover that kind of, I don't know, didn't work for me. But anyway, so we've got Dino Crisis 2. So shall we have a quick recap?
Of course.
We have 5 games, Desert Island. You've got the means to play them. You've got no mates to play with, no internet connection, and it's games that you won't get bored with, and that you can play. Sort of replayability is excellent. Resi 2. I mean, that's the strongest possible start. It's one of our favourite games as an Arcade Attack group. And then Resi 3, one of my faves. 4, Keith's fave. I think possibly maybe even his favourite game of all time, bar none.
Wow.
I'll have to check in with him on that one, but I'm pretty sure it's his favourite game. And then Dino Crisis 1 and 2. So you switched it up and you gave us dinosaurs instead of zombies. But, so just an overall then, if you're sitting there, you're playing these games, you've got those games to choose from on the Desert Island. Overall then, what do they do for you as a gamer? Obviously we've got so much access to so many games these days, but what do they do for you that kind of other games don't?
For me, I would personally say that they hold a lot of nostalgia for me, because obviously growing up, it was something that I ultimately loved. Okay, yes, I mean, I could have gone off and played like My Little Pony or Barbie's Playhouse or whatever it was, but I wasn't into that kind of thing. It's more of like a tomboy. So it holds a lot of nostalgic value. I think they are really enjoyable. They tell each individual game tells, okay, to be fair with Resident Evil, it's more or less the same thing, but with different protagonists going through different scenarios. And then for me also, it's like thinking, oh my God, these people have had to go through this. Like, you have no idea what type of PTSD they are suffering after they've been through something like this. Which
Definitely.
makes me think they should have had really good health insurance
Wow.
to endure something like that.
Oh,
So
pretty
there's that.
hefty, yeah.
And the other thing about it was is that is that, it was nice to see it spawn a franchise. So from
Mm,
something that was maybe like just taken on a chance, like,
mm.
we'll just make a game and put it out there and just see what happens. My God, it is like phenomenally just massive.
Yeah.
And to think that, we're up to what, RE9 now, the Requiem. Mm,
Shortly. Yeah, 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 absolutely,
mm,
which is mad. I mean, they I suppose one of the things there, whilst we're on the sort of Resi subject, is that they don't, other than the first two, I think the gap between each of them has been sort of, a relatively long period in game terms, isn't it?
mm,
I mean, some studios, obviously, they bash out, one a year or two, what, a sequel after 18 months, 2 years or whatever. But there was a
mhm.
few years in between each one, wasn't there?
There was.
Including, I think, Village and now this one. I can't remember when Village was, but it was, I'm going to say something like 2019-ish, 18, 19? Or was it a
Yeah,
bit later than that?
think yeah, I think it was a bit later because I
Yeah.
I had my son in 2020, and that was when RE3 Remake came out. That was March 2020, actually. Yeah, it's 'cause I gave
Let's have
birth
a look.
in June. Sorry. Just trying
2021, I stand corrected.
to
Can you believe that's 5 years ago?
I know. It's really, really weird now because I look back at these and think, because when I was pregnant with my son, I was still playing like the Resident Evil games, and as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I'm getting kicked at the same time while I'm doing this. I'm getting double punishment. That's what you get,
Real
mum.
life, it's almost like a VR headset in reality. You sort of getting, you know, I'm getting punishment in 5.1, you know. But, no, they're absolutely superb choices, and to be honest, like, there's more than enough game there, isn't there, to be keeping yourself occupied with,
I
across the
think I think the
series.
good thing about it as well, I mean, obviously, with games nowadays, so let's just say, for example, with Resident Evil 2, so you had 2 discs, you had Leon, and then you had Claire.
Mhm.
But in most cases in nowadays, you just buy the base standard game, and if you want anything else, you have to pay for it. Whereas back in the day, you would just get everything on 1 or 2 discs. You didn't need to fork out for DLC or, like, in-game purchases.
I think you're probably, there's going to be a lot of our sort of generation of gamers,
Mm,
that sort of know that a game back in the day had to be solid 100% in terms of
mm,
completed. You know, there might have been the odd little bug here and there,
mm,
but it had to be, complete in a box, like you say, double disc, Resi 2, one campaign, the other campaign, and everything was on the disc, wasn't it? And that would have been the same for any of these, to be fair. I don't think, not even Resi 4, no, not Resi 4 wasn't even, around at a time when there was kind of DLC and microtransactions and all that stuff, was there? So, um,
mm.
and now, yeah, like you say, you wanna go through that door? Well, that'll cost you £5. You haven't unlocked the extra super gold DLC luxury quantum pack or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I mean, this the cynic in me is kind of like, yeah, I hate all of that. But I suppose that's the way the world's gone. But you simply cannot beat a quality survival horror. And you've given us
Absolutely.
five. You've given us five survival horrors. Three of them with zombies, two of them with dinosaurs. So my question to you then, to sort of round things off, is because I've had a look at, I've obviously seen on your YouTube channel. I've dropped in on a few occasions on some of your streams and said hi, and probably distracted you with my stupid comments sometimes. But you've, where can everybody sort of find you then? Because I think you're on sort of lots of different social platforms, but is it mainly sort of YouTube Live? Where can everybody kind of go and see you, tackling your latest survival horror?
Second latest survival horror. I'm wondering if I've made my life's decision, if I may regret it. So,
Absolutely.
I'm mainly my main home for streaming is YouTube. That is my one and only platform. So yeah.
Superb. So, and check in, go check. I think on YouTube, I think are you KimC86 or you KimC_86? Your tag is on there. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's KimC_86.
Bingo. So you can go and check out Kim playing all of these different survival horror games. There's a bunch of videos on there as well. He did a bit of Dark Souls, Space Marine, Castlevania, Dying Light. Oh, we need to talk about that at some point. Oh, I like a bit of Dying Light. Dead Space, Event Horizon in a game form, absolutely terrifying. Dead Rising, which is hilarious, and a load of the Resi stuff as well. So, look, absolute pleasure. It's been great chatting about those 5 games. Great choices as well, and I know for a fact the other guys will be over the moon about those because we are big Resi fans and Dino Crisis fans, and they'll all be very happy. And of course, the wider gaming community, right? Everyone loves a bit of survival horror. But yeah, I was going to say as well, one little thing I remember seeing you. I saw a video of you doing Beat Saber. How was that?
Oh my lord!
I had to bring it up. I know it's completely off piste, but I've always wanted to give that a go, and it looks like I would just completely lose my mind on it. But I'm glad you kind of tried it for the rest of us.
What I would say is, I mean, I gave it a go. So my very first headset actually was the Oculus Rift for the PC. So I haven't got it. It's downstairs now. But I had this all singing, all dancing MSI computer. I thought, oh, it's got VR. I must try that out. My husband was like, "You're going to get tangled in wires, whatever." Okay. So I was like, I must try Beat Saber because I'd seen people like play it like on YouTube and I thought, oh, this looks really, really fun. And I played it on easy, probably like everybody else. I struggled like buggery and everything, and I thought, I'm never going to get this. But the more time I spent on it, the more it's like muscle memory. So if you played like a song probably about 5-6 times, what notes are coming next. And there's one where I was just playing it the other day. I play it all on hard now because I've just done it so many times.
Woo!
And I've stepped up in the world, James.
Wow, Beat Saber on hard.
But I
Move
can't play
over
on
Resi
now
too.
because of copyright issues and songs for like the songs and things like that. I just can't play it. But yeah, I really enjoy it. But now when I play it, my husband describes it like I'm swatting a fly. And he didn't get in the way. He said the amount of times he's had to like crawl underneath or like just whiz past you sort of thing. He goes, I'm doing it without.
Oh God. I had to ask you about that because I literally, one of those videos just cropped up and I was like, I was like, I've always wanted to give it a go. And I'm like, is it really, it looks insanely difficult, but you're just out here kind of putting us all to shame doing it on hard. So there we go. So final question before we completely wrap things up. Out of the 5 that we chose, what would be your kind of favorite? I'd have to ask.
It's got to be RE4 without a shadow of a doubt. I love that game.
Great choice.
I love that game. And for me, again, that we call it the pew pew of choice because obviously you have to use sort of like PC words on YouTube. My pew pew of choice would be the Broken Butterfly because that thing punches harder than a donkey's kick.
Well above its weight. Well above its weight. No, that's a great. I mean, they're all great games, but yeah, 4. I mean, I don't blame you at all. And as I say, for any of you guys out there who haven't played Resident Evil 4, where have you been for a start? But it's very accessible. There's obviously the original, which I think is ridiculously cheap on most platforms now, a couple of quid. And I think the remake also very good, very faithful. And well worth a go as well if you haven't played any of those. And if you don't know what you're getting into and you want a bit of background, then have a listen to Keith's pod that he did, which was a couple of years ago. Just go and type it into our website, our YouTube channel, and you will find it there. And you can have a little listen before you take on the masses. So, look, Kim, it's been absolutely brilliant. Great choice of games. I know a lot of people out there will love to have heard those choices. Everybody out there, do go and check out Kim on YouTube. She's on several other platforms as well, but YouTube is the spiritual home, shall we say?
It's my baby.
Your baby, absolutely. We're YouTube buddies. And yeah, go and check her out. Go and check out some survival horror. And until the next time when we're going to grill another guest about their 5 Desert Island diskette games, it's goodbye from both myself and Kim. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.